Hello, welcome back. As you can see, we've got a black canvas and got everything just about all ready to paint. Um, I was going to paint 2 days ago now, but a lot of things ended up happening that made me put that off till today. But nothing stopping me now. So let's get right in. So you know what? I'll just talk to you. I'll just talk to you as I go through it. Okay? Okay. Sound like a plan? Good. Good. Let's do this. So we begin by going right into our liquid medium, which is this right here. This is liquid clear. You can also use linseed oil. So I have some liquid clear right there on the brush, and then we just go up here and start applying it. Same way you would the liquid white. Actually, you know what? Let me show you a little trick. When people are first starting out, myself included, they can be quite nervous about the amount of liquid clear and the amount of liquid white that they put on there. Here's a trick to remove some of the liquid clear. You can take one of these. This is a paper towel. Start wiping all of that clear off. Don't go too hard though, because contrary to what Bob says, I've actually found that you can remove too much. You can even just go and tap your canvas to see how much you've got on there. This is still quite slippery. I think there might actually be too much on this side. Oh, almost dropped that. Take your paper towel and just start wiping it down. And okay. Now, like I said, I'm actually gonna take one of these knives and wiping off my fingers. Okay, I've got a few colors mixed up there on the palette. I've got some green, some burnt umber. I've got green on one area. Oh, shit. Green on one part. Some red, which partly has been mixed in with the sap green to make its own sort of brown, and then burnt umber. Burnt umber is a bit of a different brown, so you can really just use those in various combinations. You can have some of the red, some of the green, or some of the burnt umber. You can even have a mixture of all of those. Okay. Wipe off the knife. Right. And now let's go into the sap green. Okay. And then we're just gonna come up here and just do. Let's see. Let me take my 1-inch brush actually, And let me Sap Green. And then just go up here and start doing these kind of strokes. And this, I know this looks black, but when you add some more light colors to it, some not transparent, some brighter and more opaque colors, like white, for example, you're gonna be able to see what this actually looks like. Okay. All right. Now I'm just gonna take this 2-inch brush. This has a mixture of brown and green and even a bit of red onto it, and just go into some other spots, maybe here. And then I'm just gonna go here. Gonna go here, and then on this underside, I'm gonna put you can just put these wherever your heart tells you. And you know what, I think I'll even put some crimson in the middle. And then I'll take this crimson and just lay it on the middle there. There we go, maybe we'll have something like a I really don't know what this is. Well, I know what this is going to be, but we don't have too concrete of an idea, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Really, all you need when you're starting out, when you get really good with this technique, all you'll need when you have a painting in mind and you want to begin painting, at some point all you'll need is just the time of day, year, and a general idea of where you're at, which is kind of what I have right now. It looks, in my mind's eye, it looks midnight or nighttime at the very least. I saw a little bit of green on here, so I'm gonna go around there. So we have green, a mixture of green, brown, and some red. Green down here. There. Okay. Now we're gonna wash these brushes. And then we'll do the same with this brush. Oops. I got into the... That can happen sometimes. Sometimes you may, if you're like me and you don't really have much room to work with, I have a... This should be enough room for most people to work with, but I don't know why. I'm built. I'm wired in a way where I can never have enough room. And that is probably holding me back severely. Well, probably. It is holding me back severely. brush has been sufficiently beat. Okay. Alright, now let's think. We have our greens and we have our reds here. What do we want for the reds? Reds are very good for things like, well, I should say crimson. This is alizarin crimson. Permanent alizarin crimson. Reason why I say permanent is because genuine alizarin crimson is known for its poor light fastness. And if you get a genuine alizarin, that alizarin is going to fade. So I'd really recommend you get something like a permanent alizarin or a substitute. Quinacridone red is good, as well as Theo Violet. Well, I only know it by the name Theo Violet. It goes by other names, but Grumbacher sells it as Theo Violet. Quinacridone red is very good, and there's also permanent substitutes for alizarin crimson, like, permanent mimics of alizarin crimson, which is what I'm using today. Gamblin sells it, as well as Winsor Newton. Okay. Now, let's have you take a 1-inch brush, and that will be yellow. This is cadmium yellow. Oh yes, I should also say all the colors will be in the description, and later on, eventually, sometime down the line, I will have them be ran across your screen in future videos. Again, this is cadmium yellow, and go into a little bit of that. Load your brush by pulling out some of the color and then tapping the brush right into the color. That will allow you to get an even distribution of paint. Let me see if I can show you right now, actually. Okay, so you see this is my yellow. Is it on there? Yep, it's there. Alright, so I'm pulling some yellow out. This yellow is quite thin. I added some linseed oil just to keep it fresh, because it's very hot where I'm at, and oil paint tends to dry a lot faster than it usually should. If you're in a colder place, if you live in somewhere that's colder, then you can then if you set your palette out, or if you get it ready the day before, then you can leave it out somewhere. You can leave it out at your studio or wherever you're painting. Okay, and you can kind of see I've got quite a bit of paint on there, but this will still do. This will still work. And then I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna start at the farthest away, so that would be like right here where this red is, and then I'm just gonna do something like that. You see that? And then you can kind of see, as we get further away, we're mixing out into the reds, into the greens and the browns. Okay. Now, you can see that doesn't look very bright, does it? So, fix that, we just add more paint. Now, bit of an issue. I probably should have shown you the brush before I cleaned it. But that brush was full of paint, full of contaminated paint. If I were to keep going into the yellow while I still had that paint on, it would... what's the word? It would contaminate that center spot. Now, I'm actually going to use... we can keep using... We can keep using this 1-inch. Okay, and go right up here and just do little X strokes. And then just do sort of some kind of things like this, just to lay out where everything's going to be at. This is going to be like the darkest spot. So the corners are going to be the darkest, which is why, because you want the you oftentimes want the corners to be the darkest, because they will really draw attention to this part. This, not exactly center, it's a bit above the center. Yeah, a bit above the center. But you want to draw attention to that area. And you can kind of see me sort of laying out some kind of an idea for what I want. Maybe I even want some water here. Okay. Wash your brush again. And you know what, you can even use a fan brush, which I think I'll demonstrate. I will demonstrate right now. Okay. Fired right in whatever this is. It's a deep and dark, and really you just want to create sort of, oh yeah, look at this. We are deep in the woods, and just play around with this really. Like you can see some bushes here, some trees here, bushes here. Okay. Now, I've laid out some of the stuff that I do want. How much time are we on? 27 minutes. Okay. Usually Bob would be done by now. But I am a master painter, I am not. So I need more. Gamsol. Hold on, where is that Gamsol? I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. When trying to pick up my stuff, I dropped my phone. My phone tripod fell. Okay, so as I was saying, now I added some white to this just to brighten it up a bit, and you can see how much brighter it is right now just by looking at it but there is going to be quite a lot of paint there, and if you were to, we're going to blend this. However, if you were to blend it right now, it would smear. So what we're going to do instead is, before we blend, we're going to take our knife and sort of just zip away all that paint that's on top. And you can see that the value is still in. And then wipe off your knife after you're done zipping it off. Now, take a dry and clean, 2-inch brush, and then very lightly, very lightly, go. And you can even blend out some of the trees too, just to soften them. Soften them, bring them all together. Soften this whole. Light pressure, again. No, I said it just now, but light pressure. Light pressure. And really, you can blend this to any degree of softness that you prefer. You can even, heck, you can blend this till it goes away. Just very lightly, and go as slow as you need to. I'm doing this faster than I usually do because I'm getting more, honestly, I'm getting more confident in my ability to do this. But if you are just starting out, you may want to go a bit slower. And then you're going to see all these streaky things. Just don't worry about those streaks. Just go. There we go. And then you may have some paint on the end of your brush. Just beat it. There we go. Okay, now let's get on to some real fun. We're gonna have ourselves some real fun. You ready? I know you are. So, just take some of that brown. That's quite thin. Maybe I don't want to use that brown. I'm just going to clean off a spot to work. You can keep some of this brown, but I'll keep it. I'll keep it off somewhere, off like there. Take all that, clear off a spot to work if you need. I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself. I need to clear. There we go. Okay. Now, can you see my whole palette? I hope you can. Take some brown. This is burnt umber. Just take some burnt umber, really. Really, just take the burnt umber. It's really all you need. And maybe even a bit of ivory black. I'm gonna add some ivory black, though you may not need to add any black. I'm going to. It just depends on your preference, but I like to have my wood be a very dark base, and then pull it out flat, and then cut some off of the edge of the knife, and then wherever you think you're going to have your fire, we're going to have a little fire here. And then it's going to be at the brightest, and then just put out sort of the lay in the indication of a little fire, of some wood, and maybe even have like and then maybe even have like a little my paint's thin. I had the linseed oil and it became too thin. Linseed oil, which really became. Now I'm mud mixing. Oh no. Yeah. I'm not the best when it comes to like determining when I want to preserve, when to add the linseed oil, when it's becoming too dry, and it's actually drying out on the palette. But I don't want to waste paint. There we go. And we have a little fire there. Now, wipe off your knife and go into some cadmium yellow. Even a little bit of Indian yellow into that. Indian yellow is sort of an orange color. I keep seeing it slipping up my hands. So this is Indian yellow, or cadmium yellow and a bit of Indian yellow. Same thing, except this time get it out on the edge of your knife and just make a little bit of an indication of some fire there. There we go. It's not the best. You can add a lot of detail to that if you've got time and skill, you can add details. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put this back down. Now I'm just drying off this brush, making sure it's nice and dry. This is a fan brush. Okay, now, I said I was going to have some water there, didn't I? So, just take some cadmium yellow, maybe even a bit more white than yellow. So, white and yellow. Maybe in a bit of bright red. Maybe a little too much bright red there. And let's just decide where we want our water. I want it kind of like right here. Yeah, that was way too much bright red. I realized it too late. Mixing a bit more yellow, even a bit of that Indian yellow into it. And we're going back. And then we just have a little pond. Or a little lake, whatever. Okay. Yep, nice little pond. Back into that color, which is just mostly yellow this time. This time around it's mostly yellow. And just having some yellow spots where I think there might be more yellow than... You know what? That's actually quite beautiful. And then when you're done making your reflections, you can just go across like that. Very lightly, very lightly across. And now we'll wash the brush again. We'll even wash this other 1-inch brush that I had. Okay. Now, I see quite a few things over here. I see some, it's so amazing. When you get to a point where you start actually seeing stuff, and that is, it's amazing. You start to see things, and you can make them happen. Okay, now. I need to add more cadmium yellow to my palette. Probably too much cadmium yellow. This is a very, very fiery painting. Okay. Are you relatively clean? Okay. I'm gonna pick up the palette again, and I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go into some Sap Green. Put that right there. And a bit of Indian yellow. Indian yellow. This is cadmium yellow. I'm gonna go into a bit of really all the yellows. well, not all the yellows. I'm going into that pile of yellow that I made earlier, which was when I mixed up that yellow with the. There we go. And maybe there's a bit of thinning oil right here, so I'm going to add that to it as well. When I say thinning oil, really, I just mean that there's some medium. So yeah, medium. More medium. I have like medium scattered all over the palette, and that's probably what's. You may not see it, but I see a lot of. Okay. And now maybe there's just some little grassy. Actually, no. Before we put the grass, we need to put some bushes in. Where do I see a bush? I'll tell you. Trust me, I see a bush. See a bush. Let me show you how we make bushes. Go right into a big old pile of paint. Can you hear me? Can you see me? I think you can see me. You can't really see the brush, but go right into your pile of paint and then pull it going in one direction. Going in that same general direction, and you can see there. Can you see that? There is sort of that rounded corner towards the top. See? Okay. And now, you can see these bushes are very bright. So they're going to be very close to the fire. So we're just going to push them out and then say there's one like right here. And I'm just touching, as I'm doing this, I'm just the lightest touch. A very, very light touch. And you can see, look at that paint, it's sticking on there. The canvas is pulling off what it wants, and nothing more. Maybe we'll even have reflections down in the water. Ooh, almost dropped that palette. Don't kill all this dark area. We'll even have, let's go into a bit of that yellow, excuse me, Indian yellow. Some interesting stuff here. Pressed too hard there. Loading that brush up again. It's got mostly yellow on it, so this is just some grass. Maybe even a little more sap green. That may have been too much. Oops. That's okay though. Okay though. If it needs to be lighter, we just go right into the yellow. Do one bush at a time. I don't know if I've said that, but do one bush at a time. When you're doing this, one little bush at a time. It gets to feeling good, and you're gonna want to do a bunch of bushes in one go, and it's not gonna. I really don't know how to describe what it's gonna look like, but you're not gonna like it. Just trust me. And then maybe to push all this back, maybe there's just a bush just right here, foreground. Actually, no, we probably should put it right here. And think about where your bushes are. Don't just hit them at random. Think about shape and form and what your bushes will look like. And you see, this is already kind of working out for me. And then we're gonna just go load this up again into more of that green. And then we're gonna go over here and put in some little reflections. You wouldn't see the reflections there, but you would maybe here, a few here. Maybe this is a little oasis or something like that. Okay, now we're about almost done. Though we've got some stuff to take care of up here. Let me show you how we do that. We're going to go right into that same color, maybe even change it up a little bit. Okay, so take your brush and then tap both sides into the brush, or into the bristles. Yep, both sides into the bristles. But when you're push it like sort of, there needs to be more paint. Let me get more paint. There we go. Push it. And there's side, you can kind of, hold on. Push it like this, and then you can kind of see that as I push, there's sort of a little bit of a ridge. I don't know, can you see? I can't get this. Here we go. There we go. That's where I need to go. Then push sort of like this kind of a thing. Push it. And then that loads the bristles in a way where we can make sort of some of this stuff happen. Now, I'm just going to go up here, just kind of tap. There are just some little limbs hanging down. There we go. You know what? I see something. I see a little something here. Show you what I see. Usually you could have like some sort of paint excuse me. What am I thinking? You can have some tree trunks in. You can add tree trunks into your things. I think that's what we'll do. Drop the brush. You know what? We can even. Yeah. Too much. There's still a lot of minor details that we gotta add in. But I'll do them very quickly just to show you. Well, very quickly isn't exactly quick, for me at least. Okay. Now. First things first. Take your knife and that brown. Take that brown, pull it out flat, and then cut across. Actually, hold on. I almost forgot. No. Not yet. Don't take the brown yet. There's a lot of paint built up on this, so take your knife and sort of scrape out where you think a path might be. Scrape off any excess paint. In my mind, there's a path right there. Now, take your knife with the browns and come right here, and then just sort of lay in where that path wherever you think that path might be. Brown. And I think that's really all you need for much of a path. You could leave it as is, or you can highlight it. But personally, I don't like how it looks because it's mixed with that green undercolor. So I'm going to keep locking that color in. Where it goes, it just disappears off into there. Also, I should mention, when you're making your path, follow angles. Think about angles and how that path is coming out. Okay? How does that path go? Now highlight. Take your brown and add white to it. But don't mix it all. Mix it till it's just one color. Mix it marbly. There we go. Cut off. Give it like a marbled appearance, because that really makes it look nice. It adds details. Adds nice little details to it. I'm going to add a little black to mine. Okay. Cut off a little roll like that, and then come up here and just with the lightest pressure see a little road there. And one thing I've learned is you can even cut in a few sort of little imperfections, maybe. You know what else you could do? You could take. Oh, hold on. You can take some of the white and cut in a little bit of dirt. Something. There we go. Okay. And if you're add a bit of white to your original brown color, and you can cut in a few little tree trunks. Tree trunks, sticks. And that sort of pushes everything back. That's on this side. Since there's a darker spot there, you can have, you have sort of a darker I'll have my path coming out all that way. All right. Nice little trail. Very nice for a little hike kind of a thing. Maybe that's what this is. You're going back to your camp or something. Okay. Messing around with the knife for good enough time. I think, at least. Let's see. Well, maybe we can. Yes. I'll show you what. I'll show you what we're gonna do. Take that yellow and all of those greens. All that yellow and all those greens. And then we're gonna push. We're gonna load it to like a sort of a. Can you see what I'm doing here on this? What I'm doing right now is I'm loading it with a lot of paint, and that amount of paint is making the bristles stick to each other. And then I'm going to give it a little push. And that leaves a little ridge of paint up there. Do that again. Okay. And now we can come back and sort of some little grass. Yeah, little grassy things, moss. Maybe with a little bush here. I need to add some paint thinner. Maybe it's a little. I'm going to put this down. Sorry. I put too much thinner on my brush there. Whoops. Yeah. So you may accidentally put too much thinner on your brush. If that happens, that's okay. That's okay. You're gonna have screw ups like that every once in a while. Okay. Just putting more thinner or more paint onto the palette there. That's bright red. Clean the brush. And I want something that really stands out. So I'm going to go right into some of that thinner red. Right into the bright red. And then come up here and just okay. All right. I think that we have about a finished painting. Actually, hold on. No. Wait a minute. Wait just a second. Okay. We're not done just yet. I'm going to take the last bit of that yellow and stick it here. And then I'm going to add Sap Green, a little bit of phthalo green into that, and white. Okay. Yep, just add a bit of grass into that. Okay, yep, we're done now. Because I think I have, let's see. Maybe I can, you know what, you can do something with, and nah. Okay, yeah, that's it. I think I did pretty well. This was a nice little forest trip on a black canvas. So, yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching me. Goodbye.